Hello, today I'd like to share some interesting facts with you about the Great Depression that took place in the United States during the 1930s. The Great Depression was the biggest and most devastating time ever seen in America, and it lasted 10 long, unforgettable years. The Great Depression was a result of the roaring 1920s. This was a wonderful time in America. It was an era when the United States prospered tremendously. The Model T was in mass production, and that was the first automobile ever introduced, and it was introduced by Henry Ford, and the assembly line created jobs for many Americans. And Americans were making and spending a great deal of money during the roaring 1920s. On October 29, 1929, the stock market crashed. This day was known as Black Tuesday. I have recently become very interested in our nation's economy due to the slump we are currently experiencing in the United States right now. The stock market crash wiped out over 40% of the United States economy. Factories, banks, and businesses shut down without any notice to their employees. People lost their homes, their life savings, and the ability to provide for their families. Farm income fell over 50%. This may not seem like a big deal today, but during the 1930s and before, our country was an agricultural-based society, and all of our money was generally based on farming. Why did the Great Depression happen? The demand for goods was not keeping up with the supply. There was little diversification in American economy at all. No upper, middle, or lower class. Everyone was poor. The economy severely depended on construction and automobiles, but no one had any money to purchase any of these goods. During the Great Depression, President Herbert Hoover was in office. His efforts to end the Great Depression brought little to no relief at all. Americans were furious that Hoover hadn't done anything to improve their country's economy. They began taking matters in their own hands and looking for ways to end the Great Depression. During this time, Theodore Roosevelt introduced a plan to end the Great Depression. It was known as the New Deal. The New Deal didn't end the Great Depression. It just provided a means for Americans to have an explanation and a way to look ahead to the future, which they hadn't had before. The Great Depression finally ended when the United States entered World War II. The World War II had been going on in our surrounding countries, but the United States had not officially entered. The other countries that were involved in World War II looked to the United States to make all of their materials that they would need and supplies for war. The United States entered World War II when the Japanese did the surprise attacks on Pearl Harbor. When the United States entered World War II, their economy was boosted because of the much-needed supplies for the war. The increased military spending for production of war materials helped the United States take a turn for their economy. Americans' optimism over the economy soon returned. I have learned that even in the hard times Americans are experiencing right now is small in comparison to what happened during the Great Depression of the 1930s. I learned that even during the toughest times, a nation can come together and rise above expectations and become stronger. History seems to repeat itself over and over through the years, but one thing is for sure. Our present-day recession is no match for the Great Depression.